Welcome to the show. Congress rolled out a deal on Monday to prevent the U.S. government from shutting down this week. The $1.1 trillion bill is intended to keep the government open through the end of September. Jim, what's the budget deal? What's in the budget deal? And do you like what you see?
So I think I have mixed feelings about this. I will tell you that the Democrats are saying that we won. The Republicans are saying that we didn't get everything we wanted, but understand this is not Donald Trump's budget. It's the leftover from Obama. And, you know, I think if I had to pick a winner and loser on this, I think the winners are the Democrats. I think they got more of what they wanted than I would expect they would get. Whether or not it was Donald Trump's original budget, the fact remains that he has the House, he has the Senate, and he has the White House. And I don't think he fared too well. And they say, well, wait and see. Okay, I get that. But, you know, we're already starting a new election cycle. And we know that once that happens, all bets are off. And, you know, there's always a reason, an excuse why we can't get something done. And I think the reason that Donald Trump got elected was because the public at large felt like he could get something done. In my mind, he's not gotten a lot done yet.
What do you think with that comment, Henry?
Well, you know, I don't think that it's a spike in the end zone for the Democratic Party. I think Trump can say, we avoided a government closure, whether it be temporary or a prolonged. Trump eliminated the parity on defense spending versus domestic spending. I think that's a plus. Adding assets back into our military, which is depleted over the last 8 years. Improved border security. He didn't get his wall, but he at least got the ability to do some repairs to the existing fence structure. Downside, okay, there was some Planned Parenthood money that went in there, and you know the far right's really upset about it. Get over it. Let's move forward. The big concern, the big thing is going to be the discussion going forward on the future budget that's actually Donald Trump's going to own.
Well, you just said an interesting comment there. You mentioned that we avoided a shutdown. In the last 2 days, today's Wednesday, in the last 2 days, the Trumpster has called for a shutdown in September. He thinks it would be good for the country.
He will own it then. But he'll own it having 4 months of negotiation going back and forth, showing who's going to be at fault of not coming to a decision.
If he gets beyond the Civil War.
So
wow. Okay.
What I like about that statement, what I like about what he said, and I think he said it totally wrong. What I like about the statement is that I feel like he's gonna publish the fact that now is the time to be working on the budget, not 2 days before it's due. And we shouldn't wait till this to deal with this last minute garbage. We should have this thing ready to be signed, and we should publish our progress and communicate our progress to the American people.
Like the repeal of Obamacare they worked on for 7.5 years.
They totally screwed that up, Ron.
Okay.
You are not. You're not going to
right now. The people,
argument.
The Republicans in D.C. are the gang that can't shoot straight. Okay, they can't agree on any course of action and stick with it. But in this case here, Donald Trump campaigned on, we don't want continuing resolutions. We want a real budget.
Well, now that he was not responsible for. That I'll buy. That I'll give him as a leftover from Obama.
Hey, now we got to hear from our libertarian here. Well, what do you think, Ken?
You know,
get rid of the federal government, right?
Well, no, reduce, not
reduce.
Get rid of. Just reduce the reduce the footprint. No, something that none of you have mentioned yet. And I'm absolutely excited about. At the same time, I've got concerns. Is that the budget also provides increased funding for the opioid crisis? Now, I don't know how much of that is actually supposed to go to enforcement versus treatment. I would hope that it would be more towards treatment than enforcement, but I mean, just the fact that, hey, we're addressing that, yes, we have an opioid crisis, the fact that we are acknowledging that is a step in the right direction.
But is that a step in the right direction? Is that something that should be addressed at a federal level or a state level or a local level? Because the statistics that I have read indicate that there are pockets of this crisis. And we are unfortunate that Maryland is one of those pockets.
Right. So, and and then the question becomes, okay, well, all right, we have the pockets. Well, where are those pockets going to get the funding from? I don't see Maryland coming up with extra funding outside of what they've already come up with without federal assistance. Now, this gets into a lot more complex than the scope of what we're talking about here as far as just the budget itself. But I think that the budget itself, as far as addressing the opioid crisis, is a good thing. And that is my opinion.
I saw an interesting piece on one of the news channels. They were interviewing the director of the Office of Management and Budget, OMB, and the question was, well, what do you think about the fact that there wasn't any money in there for the wall? And he said, oh, wait a minute, there was money in there for the wall. We can't build brick and mortar, but we can build steel. So already we're spinning.
I hope we're using American steel.
Yeah, already we're
It's already
spinning.
been ordered.
Already we're spinning this, and I think he said there was something like $7 million they could use. Well, $7 million, what's that gonna build? 20 feet?
Henry, who's losing on this whole thing? Where's the American people?
I would say-
I hear Democrat, I hear Republican, I hear Obama, I hear. Where's the American people?
Well,
come off on this?
first I think the leadership in D.C., the House Republicans, I think they're losing on it. The American public, we're not going to really see much difference. We're going to be impacted on the first Trump budget. Okay, this is a legacy carrying over from President Obama, and the only thing we're doing is doing a CR to move it forward. But the real place that all of us are going to be impacted is the tax legislation that Trump is trying to push through. If they're able to pass any type of health care legislation.
Now, go back to the tax legislation. What do you see in his tax legislation that's appealing?
Well, providing it goes through as it's purported, and it won't. If we lower taxes, we should hopefully avail ourselves of more money going into the economy, allowing repatriatism of dollars. That's
Right.
going to help with the economy, which will create a broader tax base, which the broader tax base will actually, short term, we're going to have a little bit of penalty because there's going to be less money coming into the coffers. Longer term, with the money going back into our economy, we're going to
Bring
see
that
benefit.
corporate tax from 38% back to 15%.
And
right?
we could get companies that are currently in other countries, get those companies to move back into the U.S. economy and strengthen.
Let me throw this out to all three of you. Would you support a requirement that if you get the tax break, that you must produce the jobs instead of just getting the tax break?
That
In
sounds
other
like
words,
you're going to make the government larger. We're going to be policing everybody.
I would actually take that one step further, Ron,
okay.
and say that not only must you produce the jobs, but you must produce the jobs within the U.S. for X number of years.
Yeah. I mean, we've tried this forever of giving the tax cut. They walk off with, and then the corporate directors walk off with the money, and the American people still don't have the jobs. When Citibank came to Washington County, the caveat was with the legislature, before Citibank could do banking in Maryland, they had to agree that in building Citibank here, they would produce X amount of jobs here and in Towson, Maryland. And they produced those, and everything kept on going. Why give the American corporation a tax break without a requirement
So
to
dangle the
produce
carrot
jobs?
and eat it too.
Absolutely. The carrot dangle is the perfect analogy for this one, and I completely
Yeah.
agree with you. I don't know what it looks like, whether it's you have to create X number of jobs, but there should definitely be a carrot. There should definitely be a carrot for keeping those jobs in America rather than shipping them overseas. I mean, I see some benefit to that. Now, I know there are probably unintended consequences that somebody who is
always are.
far smarter than I in economics could point out. But let me just say, as my final thought on this, that one of the things that I look forward to is the simplification of what I have to do every April. Because right now, it's a pain in the neck.
It is that. And you've had the last word, Jim. Up next, we take a look at how Maryland will begin handling uninsured motorists. We're back in 3 minutes.